Good Monday morning. Do you remember last week when I told you about the old saying, too heavenly minded to be any earthly good? Well, there's another old saying that people say often that feels like it's often quoted to give ourselves permission to not share the gospel, which I find interesting when we realize who actually coined the phrase. It's by St. Francis of Assisi, and the phrase is, preach the word at all times, and if necessary, use words. I think we've kind of misquoted that to make ourselves comfortable in not having to share the gospel, but St. Francis of Assisi was actually a powerhouse of a preacher. I mean, he was right up there with Dwight L. Moody and all the big leagues. But 2 Timothy makes it really clear that the gospel really is, as my friend and pastor Dale Everest says, a message to be preached. And Paul wrote to Timothy in chapter 4, he said, preach the word. Be prepared in season and out of season, correct, rebuke, and encourage with great patience and careful instruction. Not from a bully pulpit or with a stick where you're pounding people over the head, but with truth, because the word does correct and reprove us and change us and make us take stock in the situations of our heart and the posture of our heart. He said, for the time will come, and I believe it's here now, for the time will come when men will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them people in a great number of teachers who will give them what their itching ears want to hear. And I do believe we see that now. I do believe we see preachers offering a palatable gospel. And sadly, that gospel is going to leave many with no saving grace of Jesus Christ. So Jesus told them when he was teaching the Sermon on the Mount, remember last week it was about salt? Well, this week it's about light. And he said this, he said, here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. I love that because, that's what light does. You put light behind a prism and you get to see all those beautiful colors that are in there. And when you and I shine the light of Christ, people actually get to see who God really is. How beautiful he is, how powerful he is, how awesome he is, how loving he is, how kind he is, how merciful he is, how patient he is with us. When you and I shine our light, that's what the world gets to see. It says God is not a secret to be kept. And he's not. He's a message to be preached. So we're going public with this. The writer of the Message Bible says, we're going as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm going to put you up on a light stand. The light of Jesus in you and I is not meant to be hidden. It's meant to be told. And honestly, most true believers have a really tough time keeping it hidden. Our light shines because Jesus is in us and he is the light of the world. And John 1 says, darkness cannot overcome the light. The only way the darkness wins is if the light doesn't shine. I've heard my pastor Mike Glenn say many times, and it's the truth. So if it seems darkness is advancing in the world, there's really one major reason why, and it has to be because the light isn't shining bright enough. So we need to ask our heart a question this week. Lord, am I believing that I'm only just supposed to let people look at my life and it's never a message that I'm supposed to preach? Or am I actually supposed to share what you've done in my life? Revelation 12:11 says, the enemy, Satan, was overcome by the blood of the Lamb and what? The word of our testimony. The word of our testimony of what Jesus has done in us, of how he's transformed us, of how he's rescued us, is as powerful in overcoming. I won't say as powerful. It's a weapon just like the blood of the Lamb that overcomes the work of the enemy. And it shows the God colors in what can often be a very gray world. So, let your light shine this week. God meant it to be put up on a stand. Someone needs to hear your story of what Jesus has done.